The program of St. Louis Blues, originally scheduled for this time, has been canceled. Representative Maury Maverick of Texas, scheduled at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, will be heard instead at 8:45 p.m. this evening, speaking on the subject, Too Many Battleships and War. Tonight, the world trembles, torn by conflicting forces.
And, Ed, it is actually from one of those battleships of those conflicting forces that I am speaking to you live right now. Hello, America. This is Bill Shirer reporting for CBS Shortwave Radio from the wardroom of the mighty Bismarck, all the way from the bustling port of Kiel in Germany. You may listen and hear the ship's choir singing carols in this modern leviathan of destruction, but we have entered an eerie pause in this new year of 1941. The world is seemingly holding its collective breath, as if garnering strength for the next great cataclysm. I am under direct German censorship, but it is my job to report the truth factually, dispassionately and objectively, as I look back on 1940 and ahead to the third year of this terrible war. The last 2 months of 1940 has seen the world gripped by the worst type of inclement weather imaginable. In Scandinavia there is a winter war of whiteout blizzards, where it is only General Winter who is in total command. Not a single shot has been fired in months, as belligerent forces blunder forward, barely crawling a few miles a week. Whilst Germany has sent a few corps of volunteers, and whereas Stavka has poured in Soviet troops and is on the threshold of seizing the nickel and copper mines of Petsamo, nothing else has happened, nor can it, given the weather. However, that same weather has greatly hampered the German campaign in the West. In France, nothing has materially changed, the exception being the bloody capture of the industrial town of Lille. In the confusion before the battle, the French High Command were unaware that the gallant Prelat general had opted to stay behind in the city. Despite being stupid, he had opted masterful tactics by surprisingly opting for a fluid blitzkrieg defense, knowing that German tanks could not easily maneuver there. He was proved spectacularly right when the Germans suffered their worst loss of the war, with the 7th Mechanized Corps totally destroyed for no French casualties during their retreat. But tonight, I sit here with some U-boat men who are joining in the party aboard, and it is to them that Germany looks for good news. For these boys have just returned from their first foray into battle, having inflicted heavy blows on British merchantmen. In January they sailed to the Faroes Gap, surprised the Royal Navy and sank 600,000 tons of ships. That's 3 complete convoy fleets. Damaged the same number and aborted another 6 kilotons. But I can also report that Admiral Raeder too was surprised, as he was unaware that since January the 1st, 1941, all British convoy vessels and Allied surface ships had suddenly doubled their anti-submarine capacity. So of those 6 U-boats deployed, half were nearly sunk, damaged or aborted. It was a salutary blow and augurs ill for the casualty rates on both sides in the years to come. There is, however, some Axis jealousy here that the honour of sinking the first Royal Navy ship of the war went to La Regia Marina in the Mediterranean, where the Italians seem to be using their navy in an aggressive manner, conducting large fleet operations which have had some success. This included the sinking of a submarine and the heavy cruiser HMS Liverpool, and the damaging of 2 others. However, as yet, the major fleets have not yet engaged. Across the world, in the Far East, my colleague Ed Murrow has had very little to report. The Japanese launched a single campaign and pushed the Kuomintang nationalist troops from the resource area west of Pyongyang into their mountain redoubt, with some casualties. But it is a fact that since September 1939, Chinese reinforcements have exceeded their losses of nearly 2-1. Whatever hopes Nippon had of crushing defeat of China has been lost in the swirling snows and ice paddy fields of the Central Plains. And now the Japanese are being plagued by partisan activity. However, on the other hand, the Nippo-Soviet front has stabilized with some reinforcements on both sides, but no obviously aggressive moves. Finally, however, it is to France that we must look to see what the future holds. Sadly, I am constrained by censorship, but I can say that the Axis are disappointed at their lack of progress. Some in OKW had hoped following the lightning wars of Poland, Denmark, Belgium and Holland, France too would succumb. She hasn't. What's more, the time that La France has gained has been put to use. I understand that the French Premier Daladier has secretly begun to formulate plans for fighting on, even if the unthinkable happens and Paris falls. Ships have been rumoured to have been sent to far-flung parts of the French Empire, and General Prelat, straight from Lille and hastily reformed in Marseille, has already embarked on a French transport and is reportedly heading to the Far East, along with some infantry and mountain divisions. As well as this, French native troops have been raised in the New Hebrides and Equatorial Africa. It seems the fighting spirit of France will live on, whatever happens. But I must end this broadcast on a sad note. It is incredible that given the welcome I have had from these young men on board this ship, that in just a matter of days they could be in action against other young men, but this time from Wisconsin, Idaho or Brooklyn, based on American carriers and battle wagons. This has occurred despite vowing not to send American boys to fight in Europe's wars in his recent landslide victory in November. Our president, fearful of interference of U.S. trade, has ordered the escort of all convoys off the east coast of America. So this is me, William Shirer, bidding you farewell and signing off from here on board this mighty ship, the Bismarck, and wishing you all a happy and peaceful New Year back home in the United States of America. Thank you.